Boker Tov, everyone. Good morning and happy Sunday. We begin this new week as we were doing last night, just ready for the wonders ahead. Boker Tov, everyone. Whoops. Good morning. And now you can hear the echo on my phone. That works. Today we are concluding 1 week of the Omer, so that will begin our next week tomorrow. But before we do that, let's start our day with a prayer of gratitude, Modeh or Moda Ani, starting our day on the right foot. Before you, living and enduring sovereign, you have mercifully restored my soul within me. Great is your faithfulness. As I mentioned, we are making our way through the Omer, from waking up to setting out, from enter the wilderness to being in the unknown, that scary and crazy place to be. But as we conclude this 4th week, let us turn to our blessing. Let us turn to our blessing of this day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom shmona v'esrim yom. Shehem arba'a shavuot la'omer. Today is 28 days, which is 4 weeks of the Omer. Now for today, I want to focus on just this idea of vulnerability. That when we are in the desert, when we are in the uncertainty of our lives, as we've learned over this past week, as we know from our own experiences, it is in that place of vulnerability where we have the most growth. Brene Brown writes quite a lot about being in states of vulnerability. I find a lot of her writings to be incredibly inspiring and uplifting. And there's this one quote that I came upon where she says, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up when you cannot control the outcome. Isn't that what the wilderness is? A place where we can't control what will come next, and we realize how out of control, out of our hands, things can be. Brene Brown teaches that it is important for us to let ourselves be seen deeply by others, to lean into vulnerability, to love completely and wholeheartedly, even when it's not reciprocated, to be fully ourselves, to practice gratitude and joy, and to know always that we are enough, that we are sacred beings, and that we are truly enough. These words, I hope, can give us strength at moments when things are out of our hands, when we get a call that a loved one is ill or, God forbid, has died, when we're faced with sudden loss and challenge and uncertainty, true strength is being able to be vulnerable enough to lean into that and living our lives with integrity. In our congregation, and I've written about this a bit for the newsletter that we have coming up, and I will talk about it plenty more in the months ahead. But in our congregation, I am truly inspired by a kind of strong vulnerability that I've seen. And this is true in a myriad of different ways. But what I'm specifically referring to is some of the diversity, inclusion, and equity work that our community is doing. We have a group of, I believe, 18 committee members who come together in meaningful conversation around times where maybe we didn't feel as uplifted as we could have been, or maybe we felt excluded, to try to think through what it is that our community needs to do in order to embrace and respect and uplift every single member of our community, no matter their background, the color of their skin, their sexuality, their sexual orientation, their abilities, their talents, and so on. And what happens that's so impressive to me is the way in which the members of this committee show up and create what we call a brave space, a space where we can speak truth and be completely brave, where there might be times where the truth that's spoken can feel a little hurtful or challenging, but to be brave enough to address it head on, to be brave enough to lean into that vulnerability. I believe that true change, any meaningful progression forward comes only when we are courageous enough to lean into our vulnerability, to admit that which we don't know, and to vision a better future together. So that is how we are going to end our 4th week of the Omer. But I know that all of you here are waiting for something that is clearly one of the most important parts of this morning, which is Rabbi's Romper Room. So I would love to just thank all of you for showing up in vulnerability and being in this sacred space this morning and every morning that we come together. So Jay and Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Andrea and Diane, it's lovely to see you. Cheryl and Susan, I'm so glad that you are here. Michelle and Pat and Bonnie and Elliot, thank you for being here in community. Rabbi Catherine and Don, Carrie and Tom, so lovely to have you here with us. And Riva, and I'm not sure who it is who is on the Temple Bethel San Pedro page, but whoever that is, thank you for being here as well. And for everyone else who is here, everyone who isn't necessarily on at this moment, but who will be later today. So grateful for all of you as well. And Barbara, so good to see you as well. And Eve and Bonnie, thank you so much for being here. So I want to give us a question, something that we can, where did my questions go? Something that we can think about as we go into our next week. Very strange. My questions seem to have disappeared on me. Huh. Okay, so the question for today is, who are your role models for being present and being comfortable without knowing? Who are your role models for being present and being comfortable without knowing, for essentially being in the unknown? And with that, I'd like to turn us to the Misha Berach prayer. This prayer, I really hope that everyone in our world who is in need of healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit, everyone in our hearts, our world entire, that we can offer this prayer and that it will bring them a complete and speedy recovery. So I invite you to join with me in singing Debbie Friedman's Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lehimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. I hope everyone has a wonderful day filled with blessing, filled with strength, and filled with courageous vulnerability. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue on our 5th week